welcome to another Formal Ferret Plays. Really excited to show you Weird Stories again. We played this last month and the game was just awesome. So, got a new crew to play games with this week, so very excited to check it out. So, let's introduce them. Here is our panel. To my left is Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
I do a little bit of all types of gaming, RPGs, storytelling, tabletop, video gaming, etc. I design mostly tabletop board games and RPGs. Right now I've got a Kickstarter up for something called Tales of Pride, which is a collection of queer-created adventures in the Pretty Fairy Princesses RPG system, which is something I created a while ago. Super excited to, put it together. So that's what's going on right now. Previously, I've done some other RPGs that are kind of quirky little one-off titles, like In Name Only, where your real-life name actually determines your abilities in the game, and Antimatter, where your successes are used against you at the end of the game as accumulations of failure, and your failures throughout the game can benefit you at the end as an accumulation of success.
Everything flips upside down.
Yep.
That's cool. Awesome. Glad to have you on the stream. And Trisha, let us know who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Trisha Wong. Well, right now I am the mother of 2 3-year-olds, and so that takes up probably most of my time. I used to work in the video game industry as a game writer, and I tend to do a lot of RPGs. I'm running 2 different RPGs right now, and I also play lots of board games and do a lot of escape rooms. So there you go.
So, how many escape rooms have you done? For those of us watching at home, how many escape rooms have you done?
If you count online ones, it's sort of getting into about 500 now.
Yeah. It's you want Trisha on your team. She's pretty good.
I'm okay.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to start with check-in cards as we usually do. So let's go to that table right now. So for those of you just watching, and for both Jack and Trisha, because I don't think you've played check-in cards yet, check-in cards is not a game. It's a tool to help us check in with each other and make sure we're all doing okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by playing... you've got 4 cards, and at the top of the card, there's an energy level. So what I'd like you to do is choose that card, select it, like click on it with your mouse, press the space bar to flip it face down, and put it in front of you. And that's the card that represents how much energy you're feeling as a person right now.
Okay. And then I put it in front of
Yep.
me.
Very nice.
I think that's...
Yep. Jack, I think you put your card into the green zone.
I put it into the green
Oh,
zone.
okay. Got it. Okay.
There we go.
All right, cool. So now select the card and press space bar to flip it back over. Okay, so Jack is at half energy, and Trisha and I are at 3/4 energy. Jack, I think we're still good to do a game of Weird Stories, but you may want to take a rest afterwards.
That's fair.
But it's good to make sure that everybody's good. Like if somebody played this card, you check in and be like, "Oh, are you good to play?" Like they might be like, "Well, I'll be okay," but then you just make sure you give them room. Like if they take a little while on their turns, that sort of thing. So now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the other side of the card, the other half, and you can press R twice. You can select a card and press R twice to rotate it.
Okay.
And then you can play a card that corresponds to how intense you want the game to be. And for an RPG, this is going to be like how much the game is going to stick with you, So, is this going to be a really brutal, intense game emotionally, or is this going to be something light and sweet? So choose your intensity level and put it down. And 2 and 3 are steps along the way.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to decide.
Nope,
sure.
All right. So
There we go.
I've got intensity 2, Trisha is intensity 3, and Jack is intensity 3. So you want a slightly more intense game than me. Obviously, we have our own definitions for 1, 2, and 3, but
Right.
this at least gets the conversation started, and I have a general idea of how you want to play.
Nobody
and-
wants a 4.
Yeah, nobody wants a 4. So that is check-in cards. And now we're going to move on to Weird Stories. So Weird Stories is a storytelling role-playing game where weird things are going to happen, but we're probably not going to explain exactly what happens. Instead, we're going to explore what happens to the characters. So we're going to go ahead and let me just probably should have hidden this. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and you know what? I'm going to do something else. Sorry, I'm thinking about, like, the Twitch stream stuff on the air as we play. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about where we want this game to happen, you know? So we got the setup card over here, if you look over at the tabletop, and the setup card, and you can hold down Option if you want, to bring up like a big view of the game. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide on the setting, like where and when is this game going to be set, and where and when are we telling the story in which weird things are happening. And with setting, there's a few things. First off, you don't want the setting to be too weird. You want the setting to be really grounded. So something very down to earth, something basic is, I think, the best kind of setting for a game like this. So if you do like transhumanist future, you can't tell where the weird is. You know, it's hard to tell what the weird is with something like that. Whereas like 19th century Victorian English countryside is a really good setting for this. Because that's pretty grounded and it's pretty down to earth, so to speak. Another thing you can do as far as the setting is concerned is you can also attach a genre if you want, and if everybody agrees. And what a genre does is, like how Twin Peaks starts as a police procedural and then everything gets weird, or how Annihilation starts as a military adventure and then things get weird. That sort of thing also. You can say, okay, we're going to make this seem like a romantic comedy at first, and then things are going to get weird. So are there settings that you folks are interested in?
Well,
Go ahead, Jack.
yeah. So I'm kind of open, but I haven't played an RPG in quite a while, and I was just poking through the character setup, and the very first question. I hope I'm not spoiling your audience for this.
Not at all.
What do I do? And the first thing I thought, for whatever reason, was package delivery.
Okay, yeah.
So I was thinking anything. There's a lot of settings that could work for. I mean, you know, there's the Kiki's delivery service route. There's pizza delivery. You know, you could even be in a high school setting, and you could be the mail courier for the school, who probably doesn't have a lot of friends.
I like pizza delivery. That's calling my name. What do you think, Trisha?
I think that's great. It might be fun to have, a pizza delivery at some, that house up on the hill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're supposed to bring pizza up there.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's maybe set the setting up as in a pizzeria that delivers. What kind of town? Is this like a big city, or is it a rural town, or somewhere in between?
I think more towards the rural town, because everybody knows that house exists, and, there's always those things of, should we go up and look at it? But
Okay.
but those are better in smaller towns.
There's also more baggage being one of the pizza delivery people in a small town, because there's no delivering to people that don't know exactly who you are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so so that's what we'll do. And is this going to be modern day, you think?
I think so. I think that's the easiest to pull this type of thing off for.
Okay. Are we going to pretend cell phones don't exist, or are we going?
You know, honestly, the house on the hill does not get a signal. Let's just.
Okay. Okay. That works.
We can bring in that house in a moment, but right now we'll just get pizzeria that delivers in a small town.
Okay.
I'm gonna capture like a creepy house as a story element because that's gonna be a thing. But now we also usually establish lines and veils, and I admit I completely dropped the ball on this. I usually have a spreadsheet that we do this, so I'm gonna email you a lines and veils document, and then you can pop those in.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I usually don't do that. And for those of you watching at home, you won't see this document. It's just going to stay between us. And let me actually just do this thing right now. Okay, I just popped it into the chat, which might have made the stuff at home right. The chat briefly covered Jack's face, which is funny. But now now everybody should have a link to that document. So, fill it out. I'm going to start entering some stuff. And then you can specify whether you want a line or a veil. Now, Jack, have you done lines and veils yet? Have you ever done that?
It's not something I may have done it under a different term.
Okay.
But it's not something I'm familiar with off the top.
So the way lines and veils works is we're going to establish like something as a line, and this is a line that cannot be crossed. You could say like cruelty to animals is a line, and that will not happen in the story. Or you can set it up as a veil, and if you set it up as a veil, it can happen, but it happens off camera. So it's just a way to establish boundaries, and we'll have an X card in the game also in case that comes up. But but all things being equal, it's usually better like to specify it up front, so we're not stepping on other people's toes.
Now you said that you shared the link in the chat. I'm not sure which chat I'm supposed to be looking at right
it's the Skype chat that we're using in the background.
Yeah, I'm still not getting those messages.
So Skype has been acting weird for Jack all day. Like there's like a 30-minute delay that you're
something
getting?
like that.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
And then when it catches up, it actually like interweaves the messages with my messages.
Wow.
So like it's up to date, but I don't know what it's doing.
All right, so check your email. I sent you an email link instead. And while we're doing that, while we're waiting for that to come in, we can also talk about story elements. So the lines and veils that we're establishing are non-negotiable, but we can also talk about story elements that are negotiable. And these are things like cell phones, for example, are a story element. I'm guessing you didn't want them in the story because they could be kind of cheap, like a cheap way to transmit information from one character to another, or to quickly manipulate a story that might be a little too chintzy. Is that right?
I think that they can easily make a situation easier to get out of a situation. I think is the general reason to not have cell phones. Though I mean it depends. I don't have a huge problem with cell phones, but it does make the story a little bit more tense when you're kind of on your own, right?
Okay, so I'm going to put modern day no cell phones as a story element. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right, so...
so we're just going to pretend cell phones don't exist, rather than...
we'll write in a reason, that why they don't exist,
I mean, literally around here, there's enough places that the cell phones don't reach that...
Yeah.
I would believe it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and bring that up. There we go. I'll bring that up, and I'll bring... where is that? There it is. Oh, that's strange. OBS is... There it is. Okay. All right, cool. So now everybody can see the setting and story elements that I've put in. Okay, cool. It's important to make sure that everybody watching has an idea of what we're doing and what's going on. Cool. Okay, so that's going to be the setting and story elements that we're going to have. What kind of story do we want to tell? Do we want it to be like... I'm guessing we want it to be a little bit creepy. Do we want to be like outright scary, gory? Like, what sort of story do you want to tell? Or no horror at all?
Yeah, I'd actually rather go like surreal, confusing over scary.
Okay. Okay, so I'll put surreal and confusing. What do you think, Trisha?
That's fine. I mean,
cool.
I'm fine with like creepy aspects of it because I think it's kind of hard not to have that with that type of
Okay,
situation.
so I'll add creepy in here. Surreal, confusing, creepy. Not.
I think just not gory is what people are.
Okay, cool. Not actual horror. All right, I'm down with that. I think that's.
I'm all for Scooby doing it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that's going to be our setup over here. And let me just quickly check to see how we're doing on lines and veils. Okay. Okay, those are all good lines and veils. I won't mention them on the air, but it's good that we have those to protect us. And just take a moment to read over them and make sure that we know what's in the story and what can't be in the story. Okay, cool. All right, so the next thing here is creating the weird. So the way, usually what I've been doing, the way I've been doing that in this, in plays of this game, is I've been saying, okay, so to do this is, I'm just going to make you a little bit bigger, Trisha, and I'm going to make you a little smaller, Jack. Just always good to adjust things on the air. Is we can just usually what I do is I have in person, we would write them down on pieces of paper and submit them simultaneously. Here that's a little trickier to do. So, and I don't want to go to the chat. So I think we're just going to suggest them in order, whenever we have one. Actually, we may not even have to. I think we already have our weird. What do you think about the weird just being So the weird, I should take a step back and explain. The weird is the conduit through which all the weird stuff in the story is going to happen. So somebody suggested a creepy house on the hill. We could say that's going to be our weird for the story. Is all the weird, at least at first, is going to be the creepy house on the hill. So I'm going to actually take this creepy house and I'm going to move it to the weird. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over here. Okay, cool. All right, so now we've got our weird, which is selected a little bit differently than we would normally select it, but I think it's going to be really good. And now we're going to create our characters. So you should have our characters all. You should select just like one of the pages. Actually, let me assign like which page is which. So that's going to be my character. This is going to be Jack's character. I'm just going left to right. And this is going to be Trisha's character. So do you see on the document where I've put that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So go ahead and type in, think about what kind of character you want to play for the whole game. Type in what that character does and why they do it. And then think of what their character name would be. Don't worry about the connected character just yet. These are characters, they might be related to, they're probably going to be related to the pizzeria in some way. But they don't have to necessarily work for the pizzeria. Like, one could be a regular customer. But in the story, there's got to be reasons these characters are interacting, unless we want to sort of split the narrative and always have one character off on their own. But that's kind of like advanced level weird stories.
Okay, so we're all gonna be from the pizzeria, but doesn't that mean there's gonna be two people left at the pizzeria when the delivery person goes?
It depends. It depends on how we write it. It depends on how we bring it in. We can always have, say, that person wants backup or something like that, because we want to sort of establish it so that we're all sort of checking out this creepy house, or maybe we're all drivers and at various times we've done it, and maybe we're not checking it out on the clock. I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's a few ways we could do it.
Okay.
Okay. So, does one of us want to be a driver, or does one of us want to be the owner of the pizzeria? I can be the owner of the pizzeria if you want.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I assume we need a reason to all go to the same place, despite this normally pizza delivery process being a single-person endeavor, right? So one of us could be. I was thinking since package delivery is my thing, that I could be the driver, and maybe I'm tutoring somebody else or training somebody else, or somebody else is just going with me because it's a small town. There's nothing better to do than ride around, delivering pizza. And every once in a while, when somebody orders the wrong pizza, we get to eat it.
Yeah.
So somebody could be like a mooch type character or a new trainee. There's a couple different ways that could go.
Okay, well, how about this? I've got some ideas of incorporating the owner when you folks are out on deliveries. So how about you two are on the deliveries and I'm back?
I will be the trainee.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So... what's the name of the pizzeria? I think just something simple. Just calling like Frank's Pizza might be the way to go, right?
Yeah, are you going to be Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The specialty could be instead of pepperoni, it has hot dogs on it.
Ooh, I like that. Get a Frankie
like
from...
awful pizza.
Yeah, get a Frankie's from Frankie.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, cool.
I mean, what are they going to eat at the other pizza restaurant in this town of 2,000 people?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
At the Domino's? Come on. All right, so why do I do it? I think I've owned this for a while. Oh, I know. I can't type. There we go. All right, cool. I'm going to say that I founded this restaurant and I've owned and operated it for 30 years. All right, cool. All right, everybody ready?
Yeah.
Were we supposed to do the connected character already?
Not yet. Not yet. We're
Okay,
just doing the
okay.
first two. We're going to stop before connected characters. Okay, cool. So let me refresh this, and I can start playing some of this so people at home can see what we have. So my character is Frankie Jones, but Frankie's a she. I own the pizzeria. I founded it, and I've owned and operated it for 30 years. And these are going way too fast, so let me just update that. Frankie, Frankie, have run this for a long time. So that's a thing I've been doing for a while now.
Okay.
Okay. So Jack, tell us about your character.
So I go by Jaws.
Mhm.
That's what everybody called me, because as a kid I couldn't say my own name very good. But it pretty much stuck, and I've never really complained about it. And right now I just do pizza delivery. That's what I focus on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I do it very well. I'm very focused. I know every house in town. I know exactly how to get there, when to get there, etc. And I do it because my dog Herman needs obedience school, or he's going back to the pound.
Oh, okay.
My parents aren't happy with the behavior problems that Herman is, and so I have one option. I've got to get that obedience school for for Herman.
Got it. Okay, cool. So, is Jaws a he, her, she? He,
Jaws
him,
is a
she,
he.
Jaws is he.
Jaws
Okay,
is a
cool.
he.
All right, cool. Okay, Trish, tell us about your character.
My character is Wendy Anderson. She is a trainee of pizza delivery because this is her first night going out. She's very excited. And she's just out of high school and about to go to a college in a big town, and so she's super excited about that, but she needs some pocket money for the summer to get through. So this is her job before school starts.
All right, very, very cool. All right, that's everybody's character. What we're going to do next is we're going to figure out a character that they're connected to somehow. They don't have to be related, like directly related, but they do, they could be friends, they could be enemies, they could be lovers, they could just be coworkers, that sort of thing. So which character do you want to be related to?
Well, I think it's natural that I'd be related to Jaws, as he is my trainer.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Cool. And then you can update your character sheet there, Trisha, and also put what you'd want from them. Do you have any ideas, Jack?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm thinking that Frankie might be grooming Jaws to take over the pizzeria when she's done with it. Like that might be what Frankie wants from Jaws. She wants Jaws to stay in this tiny town.
Yeah, I don't think Jaws really thinks too big and plans on going anywhere, and maybe that's what Frankie appreciates about Jaws. I'm trying to think. I think Jaws has the closest thing to a best friend that Jaws has right now is somebody else who also walks their dog around the same time.
Okay, cool.
Jaws doesn't even know this person super well, but their dogs get along, and for Jaws, that's all Jaws needs to know.
Yeah.
And we'll say this person's name is I don't know, Durwood.
Okay.
First thing that came to mind.
But the connected character has to be one of the other two primary characters.
Oh, one of the other two. Okay,
yeah.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, sorry, you have to choose one of the other. That way we all have something that we want from someone else. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
But we can still include that other person.
Okay, so we'll say that Frankie has a shop dog that lives in the pizzeria.
Oh, cool.
And so Jaws feels pretty attached to Frankie by proxy of Frankie's dog, which you may name as Frankie.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. So we've got our connected characters, I think. And we'll be updated. I just want to make sure that this stuff is looping. But okay, cool. So we have the weird and we have the character. So we're pretty much done with this very first part. So I'm going to take this card and just flip it over in the discard here. We're going to do an establishing scene now. Okay. Now, who was it who came up with that idea about like one of us came up with an idea for the creepy house? I think it was Trish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Trish, I'm going to give you this marker over here. I'm just going to put it next to your player area over there. And what that marker means is you are going to frame this establishing scene. So we've got this establishing scene now. and we're going to establish how the characters know each other. We're going to establish... Just going to refresh this. So we're going to establish how the characters know each other. We're going to establish what we want from each other. And then once we feel like we've done that, we can finish the scene. Now, the weird will not enter the scene. There is no weird at all in the scene. The scene is just for establishing. Now, you notice you've got 4 cards in your hand also. Let me explain these 4 cards. We've got one card here that's a stop card. And this is the all-important X card. So if something's happening and you want it to stop, play the X card and it will stop. Okay?
Okay.
And you can just sort of like move it around if you want. That helps it. We also have a go card. That's this one. So if you think something that's happening that's really good, but you don't want to like interrupt anyone, you can just play the go card, and that just sort of shows that, oh, I really like what you're doing here. Keep it up. The next card over here is the edit card, and this is a really important card because we've created our characters. We have full responsibility over our own characters. So each of us can control our own character. Now, if I want, say, Jack to take their character a certain way, I can edit it. I can play the edit card and propose an edit. But it's up to Jack whether that edit gets implemented or not. So that's something that like I can't dictate or force upon. The only exception is once we have the weird in the story, starting after the establishing scene, starting with Act 1 proper, whoever's controlling the weird has full agency over the whole story, as long as they're invoking the weird. So the person controlling the weird can say, okay, your character's hair is turned gray now, for example. And that's part of the story, so long as it doesn't violate any lines or veils and it doesn't get X-carded. Somebody can propose an edit for the player who's the weird, but the player who's the weird can approve or deny it. Make sense?
Sounds good.
Okay, and lastly, we have the close scene. So the person with this marker, right now that's Trisha. Trisha decides when the scene is over, but we can play the close card to suggest to Trisha that this is a good time to end the scene.
Okay.
All right, sound good?
Yes.
All right, cool. So, Trisha, for this establishing scene where we're trying to figure out, like, what we all want from each other, where are we?
Well, I think we should start out in the pizzeria.
That sounds
I
good.
think that's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy will be following Jaws around, and I'm guessing that, Jaws is getting ready to go out on some, take some pizza out, though we haven't gone out yet. And Frankie is there trying to make sure the pizza is getting created correctly, because that's her job.
All right, very cool.
So, as far as Wendy, she has a pad of paper, small little pad, a pencil, and she's taking notes on everything that Jaws is telling her. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right, Jaws, what are you doing in the scene? Trisha said that you're doing training, but there's anything you're doing in particular?
Yeah. So Jaws isn't super hyped about Wendy being there. Jaws is taking this a little bit as Frankie saying that, maybe Jaws isn't doing the greatest job. So Jaws isn't taking it out on Wendy, but Jaws isn't the most enthusiastic tutor, teacher, trainer Wendy's ever had. Jaws is doing, going through everything, but there's definitely a little bit of a down swell in Jaws's enthusiasm for the job at the moment. But essentially, Jaws is like, yes, here's the pan. We cooked the pizza on it.
Okay.
Because this is all self-explanatory to Jaws, right? Like, this is
right,
it's just obvious. Like, why do you even have to do this?
Right, and an observer from the outside might say, like, hey, obviously Frankie is, kind of putting somebody in this position so you can move up, but Jaws just doesn't get that.
Yeah.
So, Jaws is going through kind of all the basic stuff, like, oh, and then you slice the hot dogs. into tiny cylinders
Tiny.
before
Got it.
putting them onto the pizza. We don't get many orders for that kind of pizza, but when we do, Frankie gets very excited. So if you could flourish,
Flourish.
Frankie will enjoy it.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Flourish.
Flourish.
Yes. I'm going to underline that.
So Frankie is, I think Frankie's like making a pizza while you're doing this. You know, Frankie is doing the dough and all that stuff, and we have someone else handling the cash up front. But she's got an eye on the TV right now. She's just sort of watching TV and hanging out. She's got an ear open to what Jaws is saying, but and she knows that Jaws isn't doing a great job, but she's just sort of letting it roll. You know, she wants to sort of start letting go of things. You know. Awesome. So yeah. Let's say that Frankie shouts out, all right, it's time to roll. You've got 2 more addresses, and she gives you the addresses of 2 regulars, 2 places that always order from you.
Yes, I know exactly where these are.
Oh, great.
And you will too someday.
Oh, do you use a map?
Wendy. You're my sister. I should know your name, right?
Sure.
Are they siblings?
I didn't think they were siblings, that just trainees.
Oh, okay. Maybe I fabricated that in my mind. Yeah, so you can use a map, but you'll get used to it. We only get orders from like the same 4 houses 90% of the time. Also, don't rely on your phone. Terrible reception out here.
Okay.
So, you will get lost if you rely on your phone.
I know that's why I learned how to map read. They don't teach that in school anymore.
All right, very cool. All right, so now, Trisha, do you want to role play the actual drive in the car, or do we have an idea of what? Do we think we have a solid establishing scene? I'll leave that decision up to you.
I feel like we have a solid establishing scene.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll close the scene now. We can discard this card.
Yep.
So now I'm going to take the next few cards, and I'm going to shuffle them. May as well shuffle all the cards while we're at it. Okay, so the weird is going to pass to the next player clockwise, and that's me.
Awesome.
So we're going to put that next to me. And we're going to... this is the start of Act 1. So we're going to draw out 4 question cards. In Act 1, we need to answer 3 of these questions. Each scene, whoever the weird player is going to choose one of these questions to answer. So we have, what is something one character needs from another character right now? How can the weird fulfill one of the character's needs? Why is today important to the characters? And the last one is, how do the characters discover the weird? So I think that last one is good. I'm going to choose it. So I'm going to put it up here in this card slot. And that's going to be the question we're trying to answer right now. How do the characters discover the weird? So I'm the weird player, so I'm going to frame the new scene. And I'm going to say that we are now... it's the next night. Well, the 2 of you are together again, but I think this time Frankie is expecting Wendy to be behind the wheel, and Jaws in the passenger seat. But you have a new address to a place that's never ordered pizza before. And Jaws, you recognize the address, and you know that it's the creepy house at the top of the hill. So, so that's going to be my setup, and so I'm going to say that you're in the car. You've got the pizza in the back seat, and I'm controlling the weird. Now, if I'm not sure what direction to take the weird, there's this prompt deck, and I can always draw from the prompt deck. And the prompt deck has these prompts. So this one over here, you can suddenly view the scene from a perspective you shouldn't be able to. So if you're the weird, and only if you're the weird, you can draw 2 of these cards, look at them, and be inspired by 0, 1, or 2 of them. And then go from there, okay? All right, cool. So take it away. You are both in the car driving.
Okay. So Jaws is feeling a little less of the sting of the initial Wendy being there, and is maybe warming up a little bit to it.
Mhm.
But Jaws is still viewing it as, oh well, we're just both going to be drivers. This means I still get paid for the same amount of work, less work actually. So I'm okay with this. And this is all dialogue that Jaws is kind of having out loud with Wendy sitting right there.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, just interspersing with turn right,
Right.
here,
Okay.
right here.
Oh,
Yes.
I turned. It's just.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got it. We got
Could
it.
you maybe tell me just a few seconds before?
I don't pay a lot of attention when I'm driving because I know where I'm going. So I
Okay.
usually just clock out. It's hard to think. Like, have you ever tried to think about where you're going when you're going there? It's not that
Yes.
easy.
Okay.
Like, that's how you make mistakes. So don't think about where you're going when you're driving places.
I'll take your word for it.
You'll get
anyway,
there. You'll get there.
I mean, where is this place? I feel like we're going out of town.
Oh, it's the super creepy house up on the hill that the kids hate.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard about that place, but isn't it like, you know, didn't something like bad happen there like 100 years ago or something?
No, definitely not. Definitely
okay.
not. I know the kids, don't like going there on Halloween, and it's the creepy house that nobody lives in and is probably abandoned. And I've never actually delivered pizza there before.
What? If it's abandoned, why are we delivering pizza?
I don't know. Maybe there's a party going on. It's not
Okay.
our place as delivery people to judge the delivery receiver.
I would
that
write
is lesson number 1 of pizza delivery.
I take one of my hands
I
off the
probably
wheel,
should have told you that yesterday.
and I'm driving with one hand and writing this down with the
Writing
other.
it down with the other. Is that something you can? Is that something Wendy can do, or is the car wobbling?
It's probably wobbling.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say you get to the house now.
Okay. So as trainee, I wait in the car, right?
No, you got to deliver the pizza.
Okay.
That's like 50% of the job is delivering the pizza. The other 50% is getting yourself back to the pizzeria.
Okay.
As long as we do that, we have succeeded at pizza delivery.
I mean, okay. Just doesn't look like anyone's here. Okay, I'll go get the pizza. So I go to the back of the car and
I can go with you.
Yeah.
Whoever answers is going to think this is super weird because they're getting a pizza delivery by two people.
Well, if I scream, will you come?
I'll go with you. It's going to be a little weird.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I take the pizza. Well, here, why don't you, they ordered 2 pizzas. You hold one, I'll hold the other, and then it won't be that weird, right?
I take the pizza and kind of look at it. Okay. And I shuffle my way out of the door, a little bit clumsy because I wasn't expecting to have to hold a pizza while getting out of a car.
All right, we go to the front door.
Okay. So there's a doorbell, but when you press it, you don't hear anything.
Okay. Is there a knocker?
Yeah, let's say there is. Yeah,
character knocker.
Yeah, let's say it's a big classic honkin' knocker, so to speak.
Okay.
So you knock it. There's the knocker's really cold. Like it's really cold. It's like, yeah.
Ugh.
And the door opens only a little bit. It opens inward only a little bit. And at first it doesn't look like anyone actually opened the door, but that's because you're looking eye level. And then you look down and there's a little girl, little red-haired girl. She's got these adorable overalls that she's wearing. She opens the door and you feel like cold air spilling out as if the house is refrigerated, And she's like, "Oh, the pizza. Okay, you can just put it. I don't want to open the door all the way. You can just put the pizza down on the porch, and I'll get it.
Okay. Oh, so okay.
Has the pizza already been paid for, Jaws?
Wendy, has the pizza already been paid for? This
Uh,
is the other 50% of pizza delivery.
oh yeah. Looks like it was a credit card, but there's no tip.
Oh, how do you handle that situation, Jaws? Remember, the customer's right there, so this is not something you necessarily want to
very
overtly
slowly,
say.
my head turns towards Wendy. I don't know if I'm looking the right way according to your
You
Twitch
are
setup.
actually. You're looking exactly in the right direction, which is awesome.
All right, you need to sign this.
She takes it. She says, that's okay. I've got my own pen. It works a little better than yours, with my hands at least. And she writes. She scrawls a signature. I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm gonna say that she doesn't leave a tip.
Okay.
She doesn't leave a tip.
Okay. All right. I put my pizza down on the porch.
And she says, when you drive away, the pizza will still be on the porch, but don't worry about it. I'll get it after you drive away. I know that sounds weird. I'm sorry. I'm sure the pizza's going to be delicious.
Uh-huh. Okay. I wait for Jaws to put his pizza down and then kind of back away slowly towards the car.
Set my pizza where in front of Wendy, I guess.
She's looking at the both of you with just this like innocent angelic smile.
Mm-hmm. Back up towards the car.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to close the scene right there. I think that's good.
Okay.
So now we look to see if we've answered the question: how do the characters discover the weird? I think we've.
Oh,
think
yeah.
we've at least discovered it. So now the weird is going to pass over to Jack. And there's 3 remaining scenes here, 3 remaining questions. You're going to choose one of the 3 questions to answer and drag it into the card slot at the top of the screen.
Okay. Let's see.
So the questions are just for people watching at home. The questions are: what is something one character needs from another character right now? And I really need to fix the grammar on that card. How can the weird fulfill one of the character's needs? And why is today important to the characters?
Okay. So I'm going to take the why is today important to the characters.
Excellent. Okay. That's going to be and now you're going to go ahead and frame the scene.
Okay. So Jaws and Wendy are heading back to the pizzeria. Unbeknownst to both of them, Frankie has been kind of figuring out in the background some of the details of bringing Jaws in at a higher level and bringing Wendy on as essentially the driver for the pizzeria. Mm-hmm. This is a big thing because Frankie's been running the place all by herself for probably decades at this point, or it feels like decades. It's Frankie doesn't know how Jaws is going to take it. Jaws seemingly doesn't recognize that this is a thing that could even possibly happen. Frankie's put out feelers a few times in the past, but Jaws just doesn't even catch a hint. Wendy, meanwhile, stands to be in the middle of who knows what reaction-wise, without really any context whatsoever, because having just started, has no idea what kind of relationship these 2 individuals actually have as employer and employee.
Okay.
All right. So where are we right now?
So we'll I guess we'll say that we're back at the pizzeria as Jaws and Wendy arrive, and yeah, we'll go from there, I guess.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're back in the pizzeria, and I'm going to say that Frankie gets a phone call, and you can overhear Frankie on the phone because it's a pretty small place. And Frankie's like, you can overhear her say, "Yeah, uh huh, yeah, but uh, I, yeah, but what I'm hoping to close on the new house like next month. Yeah, yeah, and then we got to get the movers and all. Yeah, Well, it's a big move. It's like an out of state move. I mean, we're moving across half the country, so I mean, it's not going to be a little thing. Uh huh. Okay, yeah, I guess that's going to work. Okay, bye. Click. And that's the first you've heard of something like that. Like, you haven't heard anything about like movers or anything like that before.
Hey, Frankie. Frankie. I really need this job, Frankie.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. No, this place ain't going anywhere. Frankie's is an institution. It's gonna be in this town. What's the name of this town? What do you think the name of this town is?
uh,
Let's say Lafayetteville.
Lafayette.
It seems like a
Okay.
small town. Lafayetteville, Pennsylvania. So, you know, Lafayetteville, Pennsylvania has always had Frankie's, at least for the last 30
mhm.
years. And it's not going away anytime soon. But it doesn't need me. You know, it runs really
Uh,
well. I mean, but you know who it does need? It does need you. Jaws, it needs you.
uh, uh, um, it, uh, uh, and the phone rings.
Oh, excellent.
Mm.
So Frankie gets it. Frankie's Pizza. I'm sorry. Was Wendy gonna do something in the scene? I don't want Wendy to be
Oh.
excluded.
Right.
No, I was just Wendy was just watching and kind of a little concerned.
Is she doing the
Her
math?
summer
Like,
job is gone.
does she understand that if Jaws moves up, Wendy moves up as well? Is that like
Yeah.
hard hit her yet?
Better tips. I don't have to
Yeah.
share them.
Oh, so she is understanding that it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Cool. So she's on the know. That's important for the character. Okay. So Frankie answers the phone. Okay, Hi, Frankie's Pizza.
You hear on the other end, there's a pretty cold voice that simply says, "There's a problem with the order."
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened?
I forgot to tip.
Oh, well, if I can just get your credit card info, we'll just process that in the credit card.
I would like to thank the delivery people and the pizza person in person.
What, out of curiosity, what does the voice sound like?
It's we'll just say almost exactly like I am delivering it.
So, can I tell, like, the gender, for example, or is it, like, indecipherable in terms
It's
of, like...
it's a little indecipherable.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a woman with a deep voice, it could be a man with a
Yeah.
higher voice. I can't really tell age, I can't really tell ethnicity. It's just very flat. Okay, cool. So, yeah, Frankie's like, okay, I'll send the drivers out ASAP. Thank you so much. Most people aren't this thoughtful, you know. That might be a good point to close, because I think we've established why today's special in a couple of avenues. What do you
Yeah.
folks think?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we can flip this card over and discard it. And Trisha, you are now the weird, and you're going to answer one of these two questions. The act is going to end after 3 questions have been answered. Now, if we
Okay.
decide that a question has not been answered, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about not answering a question. But we continue to pass the weird on, and the next player chooses one of the questions to answer again. And we keep going until we answer the question. Answer one of the questions.
Okay.
So again, we've got what is something one character needs from another right now, and I still have that extra something on that card that's driving me nuts. Oh, but you decided on how can the weird
fulfill one of the characters'
Excellent.
needs?
Wonderful. Okay, cool. So go ahead and set the scene. Oh, and Jack, if you drew some prompt cards, you can discard them over in the. I have a little prompt discard pile over here. You just flip them over and put them there. Okay, so what's happening over here, Trisha?
Okay. Whew. So we are driving back at to the house. We pull up at the house, and it still looks how it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And though I think it might make sense, since the person did say that they want the pizza person to come as well, that we talked Frankie into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the last thing of the night. Why don't you come with us? And we can do this, and then we can.
Yeah, I didn't recognize this person we were dropping it off with, so maybe somebody bought the very expensive, creepy house, and you should establish some good business ties with that person.
So,
and maybe
yeah,
I'm just curious, you know. Maybe I'm like I see the address, like, oh, I thought that place was condemned. Okay, why don't I go with you? I'm curious.
All right, so all three of us are driving up there.
Yep.
We just pull up, and the house is again completely black.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we can start the scene. Wendy gets out and looks very nervous and makes sure the other two people are following her, and goes up and says, the doorbell doesn't ring. And she pushes the doorbell just to show, and then the doorbell gives a really big ring.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. It's and Frankie's like, that seems fine to me.
Jaws, that doorbell didn't work last time, right?
Maybe you missed?
You missed it. Okay.
Don't ask me. You're the one that missed it.
Okay. Anyway, so the door slowly comes open, but there's no little girl there. It's just open.
Oh. Does it open all the way?
Yeah. But it creaks, as it's opening.
Okay. Just as an aside, I don't think Frankie is going to see her needs fulfilled by the weird in this case, so I'm going to think it's one of you, right? Do you have either of you have an idea about that? Because I don't see Frankie getting a need fulfilled here. I think she's just curious, but I don't think specifically fulfills her needs of wanting to pass off the pizzeria to Jaws. So
I think it might fulfill Jaws' needs of, is his need taking on the responsibility of it, or is it?
Yeah, I think Jaws would take over day-to-day operation.
So, he can become the lead here, and that would, I think, fulfill
the
need.
So maybe this is sort of a test, Frankie's kind of testing Jaws. So the door opens, and Frankie looks at Jaws, and Frankie's like...
And Wendy definitely looks at Jaws, because she's not going
Yeah, so we're both looking at Jaws, and we're like, okay.
Hello? And I kind of peer in and see if I can identify anything that's going on inside. Little person that was here before. We're here for our... I don't want to say that. You called for us?
The same voice that was on the phone says, "Yes, I'm in the sitting room. Come in."
Yes, I am in the sitting room.
Thank you.
Okay. Let us adjourn to the sitting room. And I step into the house and gotta take a momentary breath, like I expected something to happen, and then I just start walking to where I would guess a sitting room might be, or where it had sounded like the voice came from.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy follows.
And and Frankie is bringing up the rear, and I think she's got a little smile on her face. She's finding this thing so far kind of amusing.
And I think just as they all get towards the beyond the threshold of the door slams shut.
Do you want to close the scene right here? I think
Yes.
we may have answered the question, because I think Frankie is seeing this as a test for Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So we are done with Act 1, actually. So we've answered 3 questions. The 4th question goes unanswered. And now we're going to go to the first intermission. So every intermission, we have 2 intermissions. So we're going to answer some questions that sort of helps the game keep moving. So first off, how is the weird affecting the characters? I don't think the weird has outrightly affected the characters yet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
So we're probably going to want to figure out a way that the weird's consistent effect on the characters. What can you do to bind the characters and the weird closer together? I mean, we've just locked them in a house with them.
Mm.
So I think that will probably do the trick. And does the story need to be more grounded or heightened? I think it's about to get more heightened, but we shouldn't heighten too quickly. Like, it's okay to have bursts, but we shouldn't go, like, all the way out. Just, like, gradually raise it and raise it and raise it. That would be my approach, at least.
Okay.
I know I sort of alpha playered that, but I'd love your thoughts. I don't want to take this over.
I think that all makes sense.
Okay.
I think at the moment, all 3 characters are recognizing that there is something a little bit unusual about the circumstances, but none of them are feeling particularly affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can discard this card, and we're going to go on to scene 2. So now if you are the weird player, and you want prompts, you're going to draw them from the scene 2 prompt deck. I'm sorry, the Act 2 prompt deck, not the Act 1 prompt deck. And the questions for Act 2, and I'm the weird now, is why does one character hate the weird? What is something about the weird that is different now? How have some of the characters' relationships changed? And how does a character try to use the weird to get what they want? I think that last one is good. I think Frankie especially can use that one. I'm going to draw a couple of prompt cards also, because I think I can use them. Let's see. Check out these. Ah. Huh. Okay, I got an idea. Okay, so... Alright, so you go into the sitting room, and, it's actually pretty nice. It's kind of old-timey. I'm going to be a little cliche and say it's got a nice carpet, wood floor, wood walls, that sort of thing. It feels old-timey and comfortable. There's candles lit. It's still really, really cold. Like, this house is really cold. And there's a chair. There's like an easy chair, like upholstered and everything, but its back is to you. And there's someone sitting in the chair, but you can't see who they are. You see sort of like the top of a head, and you see some gray-brown hair, but that's all you see. You don't see anything else. And you hear a voice saying, you hear the same voice saying, "Thank you for visiting me. I'm sorry that my daughter was not gracious enough to give you a tip. But I wanted to apologize in person. Forgive me for my lack of manners. I am not in a position to look at visitors right now."
That's all right.
That's because your chair's turned around.
We We are very thankful that you thought of us, but it's quite all right. We can go.
The figure says, "I understand your. I appreciate your understanding. This chair will have to remain turned around for the duration of this conversation. I do not want to. I simply do not want to face you right now. It wouldn't go well for any of us. There is some money on the table near to your left. Take whatever you feel you are entitled to." You look at the table, and there's actually about $100 in ones and fives, and he says, "Take what you want."
Jaws walks over to the table and grabs all of the money and flips through it real quick. It says, "This is the last run of the night. We had to drive all the way back here. I appreciate it, but maybe next time just use a card over the phone," and starts heading towards the front door.
Well, thank you. My associate took the money. And it was really nice to meet your daughter. She was very cute. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you ever want pizza, we'll have a wonderful day.
And Frankie simply says thank you. And the figure says, "Oh, one more question. How long a drive is it? How long?" He doesn't say drive. How long is the transit between here and your restaurant?
20 minutes? 20 minutes?
18 and a half.
Is that something you would consider a long time?
Well, when you have to do it twice back and forth, that's 40 minutes per session. So altogether, that's 80 minutes. So
the voice cuts Wendy off, and the voice says, understood. Say no more. I will also make this easier for you." And you're back in the pizzeria. Like, immediately. The car's outside. Like, you and the car it's as if you have driven back, but you're back in the pizzeria.
Jaws was just about to try and exit the house, and so finds himself exiting the pizzeria, looks around, and turns around and comes back in.
And Frankie looks at the time, and she says, like, there was no time that, like, we left the car. I saw the time when we left the car. We left the car at, like, I'm going to say 9:15. And it is now 9:18. So it's like, it's not like you don't remember the drive back. You did not drive back. One moment you were there, and now another moment you're here. And I think that's a good point to end the scene.
Okay.
I think we answered the question, though. How does a character try to use the weird to get what they want? Because Jaws got money.
He got a lot of money,
yes.
and we got back immediately, which, that's pretty nice.
Okay, Jack, you are the next weird.
Okay. Okay. Let's do. Okay. So we'll say, how have some of the characters' relationships changed?
Ah, okay, cool.
And I'll grab 2 of these. So we're gonna jump forward maybe a few days. That whole situation was very awkward and unsettling, and a little bit. It was like a shared daydream at the time, and Jaws and Frankie haven't discussed any part of that since then, including the events leading up to it and the discussion of transition of control or management, any of that, because Frankie's not really sure how to perceive Jaws based on this. I'll leave it to you, Gil, to kind of decide exactly what's going on in Frankie's head. But for whatever reason, Frankie just hasn't had that discussion, and Jaws hasn't approached it either. Meanwhile, Wendy is caught in the middle of this just weird kind of tension that is not explicitly negative or positive. It's just an unusual energy in the pizzeria that didn't exist before the topics of the previous few days were broached. And the group gets another call from that same house after these few days, and it is yet again requested that they visit, and there are insinuations that that there will be a payment made to make good on the time, and that it won't be a concern time wise. It won't take any part of your day whatsoever to come out here and deliver some pizza, and maybe just have a short visit. And after the events of the last time, there wasn't really anything negative about it, and so everybody's a little curious, we'll say.
Yeah,
and
I think Frankie's very curious about it.
So we will pick up with the three arriving back at the house for the third time, the second time for Frankie.
All right. So Jaws, you should try the bell, just to see if it works this time.
Okay. So Jaws hits the bell, and it rings completely normally again. And for whatever reason, Frankie has one of her famous hot dog pizzas there with them.
Yeah. I don't think I think Frankie tried to sell them, specifically a Frankie pizza, and they said, if you wish, was the answer.
Yeah. So an order was not explicitly placed, but nevertheless, a hot dog pizza is in the mix at the moment. And so the doorbell rings, and after a brief moment, the door opens again. And at first, it seems like nobody opens it, but then that little girl kind of pokes her head around and says, "Father said you would be here. You can find him in the what was it? The study?
The sitting room.
The sitting room.
Yes.
He is in the sitting room. You can find him there."
Oh, hi. What is your name, by the way? Since we're coming into your house.
Hannah.
Oh, Hannah. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. All right.
So Jaws is kind of letting Frankie lead this excursion, since Frankie wants to make this pizza presentation or delivery.
And I think Frankie is put on some is wearing the Frankie's hat, and is wearing a Frankie's jacket, and is just sort of decked out in Frankie's paraphernalia, she really wants to sell it. And she's first into the sitting room.
Okay.
So the sitting room looks very much the same. And again, the chair is turned away. But when we step inside, again, the door behind us closes, and when we turn around, the little girl is gone. The door is just closed. And
isn't Hannah right there?
I don't know. Kids
cold.
are squirrely.
I hate how cold it is in this house. I wish they had. I'm glad I brought a jacket this time.
A fireplace in the sitting room begins to smolder and churn and develop a fire, almost as if it had been lit the whole time.
Huh. Very cool.
Huh.
Okay. Are you in the chair, Mr. Host, sir, person?
Hannah's father?
Nobody seems to respond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Frankie's like, we're here with your pizza. It's 2 large Frankie pizzas, just as you ordered.
Wendy goes to put them on a nearby table, and gently puts them down and says, "Yes, there's a pepperoni too."
Like one stray pepperoni made it onto one of the pizzas.
Like one of the slices has managed to only have a single pepperoni on it and no hot dog. It's like the savior slice when somebody accidentally orders this thing.
Yeah.
So as you set down the pizza on the table, you almost feel like as you reach out, the table almost distances itself from you. You feel this like kind of wavy, like your arms are stretching a little further than they need to set it down, and you're not really sure what's going on. But like when you kind of snap away from it, you realize you've now just set the pizza on the floor.
I'm really sorry about that. I thought there was a table here. Maybe it's something in the air. Anyway, I go to reach down and get the pizza and bring it back up and try to get closer to the table.
You get it just fine, and the table's right there. And you try again, and you kind of get this like wavy, like everything just kind of slides away from you, like a Dali painting, and you find yourself placing the pizza on the floor again.
And Frankie doesn't understand. Frankie's like, "Come on, the table's right there."
I'm really sorry, Frankie. It's just I think I'm putting it on the table. I mean, maybe there's something in the air. I mean, I've never been on drugs before, but I mean, somebody could have put something in my Coke, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna try again. Pick it up. I'm going to this time kind of like lunge at where I think the table is and try to put it on there before the table moves.
So you do that, and the pizza. If you're familiar with playing video games at all, when something like slides through the collision and
Yes.
and like doesn't match up with the perspective that you have, that's exactly what happens here. As the pizza kind of like goes like into the distance, but doesn't seem to land on anything until it's all the way down on the floor. And it kind of like slides a little bit, and the pizza very clearly jostles within the box.
Yeah, and now Frankie's unhappy. Like, "Frankie, come on!" Not Frankie. Frankie says, "Wendy, come on. This is food."
I'm really sorry. Maybe Jaws. Do you want to try? Cause
So
I think I should go sit
Maybe
down
you
or
should.
something.
Maybe you should.
I'm gonna find a seat and try to sit down on it. And
so
do
there's we'll say there's the main chair, which is facing
Right.
away from us.
I'm not gonna sit down on that one.
And then there's we'll say like kind of like a facing, I don't know, like a couch.
Okay.
I don't know if there's another word for like a fancy couch.
Yeah.
Chaise lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And that's sitting kind of like facing that chair, and the room very clearly is designed to have that other chair facing towards us.
Okay.
It's just not.
Right. I will go sit down on the fancy couch.
So you step over to like sit on the fancy couch, and you feel yourself like basically slide down to where you're just sitting on the floor.
I'm gonna stay there because you know what? I'm just gonna sit here and I put my knees up to my chest and I just hold my knees.
And,
I'm gonna sit in this corner.
And Frankie turns to Jaws, and Frankie's like, Jaws, do you want to do the bare minimum here?
So Jaws walks over and like kind of like the perspective for all three of us is way off. And Jaws kind of fumbles around and has to do the like very slowly moving hands towards the pizza, and eventually like gets a hold of the box and picks it up, and then does very tiny baby steps back to the center of the room, and looks around. The master of the house is not here. I think we should go. We would like to go back to the pizzeria now.
Oh, there's no one in the chair? There's no one in the chair, you think?
No one's responded. We haven't looked at the front of the chair.
Oh, right, yeah. So, like, what I'm thinking is to answer the question, for my relationship to change, like, I kind of, like, if I confirm something weird's happening, then I'll be more sympathetic to Wendy. But I think right now, I feel like the way, at least one direction we can go in order to answer the question, is for me to be in a position where I'm doubting Wendy's abilities.
Okay.
So that's sort of where I think this scene should go.
I'm going to admit that I kind of lost track of that question in describing the scene.
No worries. That's fine.
So, but yeah, I was thinking it could be either. I mean, really, Frankie's relationship with either one of us could be a little rocky at the moment.
I mean, if we want to do that scene, all it takes is Jaws being able to put it down on the table.
Oh, you want to retcon that? Yeah, edit that.
And then,
yeah,
Wendy's abilities and
are now in
sanity has come into question.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
are you good with that?
Okay.
Guys?
Yeah, that's fine. So
cool.
So Jaws gets a hold of that, and after like a little, clear moment of mental realignment, like looks over at the table and just like almost in kind of a giving up sort of way, just kind of like tosses the pizza very lightly, and it lands on the table just fine, and smacks a little hard, but like is a fixture in the room now, unlike previously.
You are really good at what you do. Okay, so Frankie says, "Okay, there's your pizza. You're all paid up, including tips. So let's go back. Wendy, we're gonna talk."
Okay.
A door on the other side of the sitting room opens up into what appears to be a kitchen area, and we will end the scene there.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Nice.
So I think we've answered the question.
Yep.
And over to you, Trisha. Which question would you like to answer?
I think, why does one character hate the weird?
Yeah! I like this because now we're starting to get some definition to Wendy's character, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so go ahead and set the scene.
Okay. All right, so as we left off, the door has opened, and there is a kitchen just inside. You see a single, like, that deep yellow light coming from inside, but it's, like, far away, so, like, the entrance area is very dark, but you can see a hint of, like, that yellow, very dark light coming in. So that's the only door. The other door is now locked, and we can all try it, but can't go out that door.
So I'm just gonna say, Frankie goes to the door, and she's like, "Oh, you're not gonna take us back? Okay, well, we can drive back." And she goes to the door. I'm gonna say I'm not the weird, so I'm gonna propose this. But Trisha, what do you think? Like, I reach out to the door handle and it's freezing. Like, I can't touch it freezing. Like, it almost burns me. Like, I have to pull my hand right away.
Yeah, as soon as you touch it, like, you feel the crystals on your fingers.
Yeah.
That form, and then, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't open it.
Mm-hmm.
The fire is, like, slowly dying as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's starting to get colder and colder in this room as we are standing here.
Yeah.
It's feeling a little less welcoming in here.
Yeah. Maybe we should go that way.
Yeah.
Wendy's could say.
Frankie's like,
Get up
I
from the
don't
floor.
think we have a choice.
Yeah.
Hannah, did you open that door?
No
Does this
sound.
place have a butler?
There is a distant echoing of laughter, as if what you said was really funny.
Oh, that's great. So Frankie says, Frankie goes to the chair, and she like looks to see if there's anyone in the easy chair.
There is no one in the easy chair. There is a coat, as if someone had been there, like one of those lounge coats, the like red ones
Like a smoking
that are
jacket?
like velvet,
Yep.
smoking jacket. That is just lying across there. And that's the only thing that's in that chair right now.
Hey, Zara, good to see ya. Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. So I reach out to touch the smoking jacket. Is it cold?
Actually, it's very warm.
Ooh.
It's not as cold as the rest of this. It's almost hot to the touch.
Wow.
Though as you're touching it, it seems to be getting colder and colder as the air in the room is just starting to get really cold to the point that now that if we talk, you can see the breath.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take the pizza to the kitchen.
Should we just leave it here? I mean, we did our job.
We have not delivered this pizza, and Okay.
Is this part of the job? Because not in my notes.
There are very few things that I can control right now, and delivering this pizza is one of them.
And Frankie's sort of absently looking at the chair, says, "Wendy, listen to Jaws," sort of absent-mindedly.
Okay, I'll just.
So I pick the pizza back
My
up.
notes just don't really cover this.
I pop it open a little bit and look inside, and you see like a little bit of mortified look as I see what we've done to the pizza, and I just kind of. And I take it with me into the kitchen.
All right, I follow into the kitchen.
I also follow, and I keep glancing behind me as we enter the kitchen. And as I'm the last one out, Wendy's the last one out, she glances back, and she sees the room, like, kind of just start filling with ice.
Oh.
And everything is just starting to be encrusted with ice, and then the door slams shut.
That's perfect.
Did you see that?
Wendy, you don't need to be slamming the doors in here.
No. Really, I think there's like a ghost or something, because that room just filled with ice.
And Frankie's like, well, let me take a look, and reaches for the door, and I'm sure the door handle is cold again, right?
Yes, it's totally freezing.
Yeah. And like snatches her hand away because the door handle is freezing again. Frankie's like, yeah, something's wrong here, isn't there?
Yes. So we're now in the kitchen. It's a very nice kitchen. Everything has that like silver look to it, as far as like the refrigerator and the stove and everything else, and the countertops are this like black color with a little bit of like reflection, like the little bits of speckle of reflection, and the yellow light is kind of hitting it. And so it look like, even though like everything is pretty, as far as like everything is in its place and pretty, there's still that kind of like grungy feeling, like that yellow light is hitting, and there's just one spotlight yellow light. Um,
I kind of tap on the doorknob and feel it for myself.
Your hand. Or,
I'm gonna turn on the stove, and I walk over and try to start the stove up.
I'm gonna find a doorway or a window out, because I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. I can totally see that.
Okay. So Wendy starts like trying to open the windows, and she's pushing and pushing, and as she does, like, frost sort of covers the window.
Is this global warming? I heard it makes things cold sometimes.
Maybe, but I mean, not this fast.
It's June.
I don't know. It's something. It's a ghost. I'm just gonna say it. It's a ghost. Okay. I know I shouldn't believe in ghosts, and I don't. But I don't know what else it could be.
This place has been abandoned for like 30 years. Why would a ghost be here?
Talking to us. Well, why is there a little girl and an old guy who we can't even look at? And they want pizza.
Why do ghosts want pizza? That's what I want to know.
Why do you work for a pizza place if you don't understand why people would want pizza?
But why ghosts want pizza? I think that's the question.
You're jumping to the assumption that they're ghosts. They're just people that recently moved in. They're probably a little weird from, I don't know, they're probably city folk. City folk are weird.
And she's like, okay, Jaws, that's why I want you to run the restaurant, because you've got such a better head on your shoulders than I do.
Okay.
I've worked here too long.
This is not what I signed up for, though. I'm gonna have to check my notes.
All right.
I think it's scene.
That's a good place to close, I was going to say. Awesome. Okay, so I think we've established why Wendy hates the weird.
I really do.
And that is the end of Act 2. So now we go to the Act 2 intermission, which is how can the characters defeat or resolve with the weird? I think the characters now... Well, what do you think? I don't want to take over.
I think this is one of those, like, either we escape the house or the house eats us.
I agree, yes. Yes, I agree with that. I think now it's
we gotta get out of this house.
Escape the haunted house, yes. Yeah. What is the character's plan?
Well, Wendy's plan is try to get out of this scary house and get people to believe her.
Mm-hmm.
That there's something really bad going on here.
I think part of Frankie's starting to think that some of this might be Wendy's fault, just like, not being happy about it.
I think Jaws is looking at it much more practically and is just like, it's getting cold. We should just find a way to heat things up.
Very cool.
There's no way that could possibly end poorly.
No.
And so in general terms, how do we think the story's going to end? In very general terms. Do you think the characters are going to get out? Do you think the characters aren't? We're not beholden to this. It's not bad to sort of spot the ending now while we can.
I don't know.
Yeah, it could go either way, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's one of those hard questions, because I do think it can go either way. I think it's interesting in both ways. Like, if they don't get out of the house, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if they do get out of the house, what do they tell themselves happened? So
yeah, very cool.
I see it. There is the slightly more hokey direction of they get out and learn the lesson of communication.
All right. So that is the end of Act 2. Now we're going to the final act.
Okay.
So bringing out 4 questions, and I'll start my scene. And the questions are, how come one character no longer wants what they had previously wanted from another character? How have the characters' relationship with their setting changed from the start of the story? How has one character successfully gotten what they want from another character? That's the card with the typo. That bugs me. Are some characters ready to sacrifice themselves to resolve with the weird? I'm going to go with how have the characters' relationship with their setting changed from the start of the story.
Okay.
Okay. So a door from the kitchen opens, and like it opens automatically, and Frankie goes through it. We're now in like a living room, and outside the living room, there's. I'd imagine there'd be how does condensation work when when one side is really cold? Which side gets the condensation? The cold side or the hot side?
The hotter side, I believe.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I believe the hotter side.
We shouldn't.
It's why the cup gets condensation on the outside.
So let's not put condensation in because I wouldn't be able to like wipe it away because it's cold in here. But I look through and I can see like oh, okay. All right. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, so I think what's going to happen is I look out the window and I can see the pizzeria. Like, I'm like, Frankie's like, okay, you two, this is kind of strange, but I can see the pizzeria out this window. And we're all like looking there. It's as if like the pizzeria were like a couple of blocks away, but there's nothing in between, so we can just have a straight eyesight down to the pizzeria.
So Jaws walks over to the window and kind of looks out, and Frankie can hear him whisper under his breath, and it's almost it's pretty clear that it wasn't intended for Frankie to hear this, but Jaws kind of says, oh, "I'm never gonna get out of this freaking town."
And Frankie says, you want out of here?
Mm-hmm. It's no. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
And Frankie says, good, I don't think I can find someone better than you. And as she says that, you can see a car driving up, kind of careening towards the pizzeria, and it skids to a stop in front of the pizzeria. And two big men with like masks over their faces, not like surgical masks, but like disguises, like burst out of the car, and you can see one of them has a gun, and they like burst into the pizzeria, and Frankie like gasps.
I told you should do money drops more than once a week.
Frankie's like, we've got to get back. We got to help. It's Regina on the register today. I mean, I hope Regina doesn't do anything stupid.
No, she's just going to cry so much.
Well, how did we get back last time? We just asked, right? Maybe.
The creepy father person.
Well,
I think
don't
had
call
to do.
him creepy when we're asking for a favor.
He's not here.
How do you know? We thought he was in the seat.
At no point was he in the seat and talking to us without being in the seat.
So, the voice says, how badly... You hear the voice saying, "Hello, friends. Do you want to return home?
Yes!
How badly would you like to return home?"
This feels like a trick
Minimally. Jaws is lying.
Jaws is employing reverse psychology. The voice pauses, and the voice says, "I need something from you. If you can supply what I need, then I can return you to where you came from."
What do you need? We brought you pizza.
Brought you the stupid Frankenfurter pizza.
The door opens. Another door opens into the next room, and I'm going to close the scene there. I think we've answered the question because we've established both that Jaws does actually want to leave, and that we don't know what condition the pizzeria is going to be like when we get back.
Oh my.
All right, Jack, you choose a question.
Okay. Let's see. How come? So the questions are: how come one character no longer wants what they had previously wanted from another character? How has one character successfully gotten what they want from another character? And are some characters ready to sacrifice themselves to resolve with the weird? And I think I'm going to go with that one.
Okay, cool.
It does make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like, Frankie is, as much as Frankie wants to retire and leave the store to somebody else, Frankie really wants the store to be a continuing legacy fixture in town. Yes,
I'd agree with that.
Okay, so this time, rather than a door opening, a light, like the clicking and flickering of a light, turns on above some stairs leading upwards.
Oh, good. Okay. Frankie, as if possessed, not literally possessed, but like she goes upstairs, like very determined.
I'm gonna follow Frankie because she seems to know what she's doing.
Does she?
Well,
right.
It's either that or stay here, and things seem to be freezing over.
Yeah, I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be eaten by the ghosts. Just
okay. All right. So let's follow Frankie. So you get upstairs, and it's a small hallway with about we'll say 5 doors. To your best guess, most of them probably lead to small bedrooms and one to a bathroom of some sort. And there appears at the end of the hallway to be yet another set of stairs heading upwards.
All right. So I'm sorry, you said there's a room connected to this hallway?
There's 5 doorways.
5 doorways.
5 doorways.
Yes, they're just kind of interspersed throughout the hallway where the stairs come up.
Is there a clear indication which door is open?
None. There is a light in the center of the hallway that is giving you just enough to see the doors and the stairs at the end.
All right. If I touch one of the doorknobs, is the doorknob cold?
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay. I try one of the doors and I just open it.
So you push it open, and you see it's almost like you're pushing open the back door of your pizza shop. And you can see through the front window the masked intruders are coming in, and you have this split second where you can decide to push your way forward and engage with what's going on in the pizza shop, or close the door and pretend like nothing's going wrong.
Oh, I think Frankie is going to try to, like, impulsively, without even thinking, step forward.
So Frankie steps forward, and just as you kind of like break the threshold, you find yourself coming through the door right behind you, and all of the doors are shut again, and you are still in that hallway.
Okay, Frankie says that is not the door to go through.
Okay. I'm gonna try this one, and I'm going to go to another door, check it to make sure it's not super cold, and
It
then
appears fine.
I open it.
And you see the outside of the front of the house leading to your car.
Okay, maybe that door. It doesn't make any sense that it's gonna lead to the car, since we're on the second floor. But maybe we go through this door because we want to leave, right? And
Frankie says that sounds solid enough.
okay,
Okay.
I'll go first.
So as
Don't
you
eat me, ghosts.
cross that threshold, you literally find yourself bumbling into Frankie, but seemingly without having come through a door at all, and all of the doors appear to be shut again.
Ow. Sorry, Frankie.
Okay. So Jaws walks over and pushes open one of the doors and looks through, and the two of you don't really see what's on the other side, and Jaws just pulls the door closed.
What did you see?
Home.
Why didn't you go through the door?
I don't get the sense that this is how things are working.
Okay.
So
Frankie says, I'm sensing a pattern here. Maybe we should just go upstairs.
I don't know. It does, like, do you have a flashlight or something? There's literally no.
I have my phone. I mean, it doesn't work as a phone, but the flashlight works. I still have 60% battery.
Okay. You hear a voice. Yes. Upstairs is where you need to go.
I'm trying to think about a way that we can show that Frankie's ready to sacrifice herself, but I don't see it in the scene just yet.
Right. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I think it's obvious from the context of everything that's going on. So I don't know that. I feel like the question is already answered.
Yeah, because Frankie was already ready to stand up.
To push it over the edge and show it necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's required at this point.
Yeah, I think Frankie, there's got to be just some way to resolve. I think Frankie, like...
Maybe Frankie just throws a tantrum and starts kicking open all the doors.
I don't think she kicks open the doors. I think she just ignores the voice. She's like, well, I'm going to open this door anyway. At this point, I don't care. I just want to get out.
She runs through like the same door 8 times.
Yes.
That one of those times it'll work.
And I think that's how we answer the question.
Okay.
All right, cool. Okay, I think that's good. A good place to end the scene.
Okay.
All right, so this, if we can answer the question, this would be the final scene.
Okay.
So Trish, it is yours to frame and to choose the question.
Okay. Oh my, these are both.
So, if you don't mind me jumping in just to offer a little bit.
Sure.
My character kind of initially started out wanting, gainful employment to cover the expenses of owning a dog, which is Jaws' only real friend.
Right.
But the realization that gainful employment could turn into living in town forever and never leaving has dramatically shifted Jaws' expectations of where they want to be for the future.
All right. I'm gonna do that. I haven't used prompt cards yet, so I'm gonna try to.
Yep. Draw a couple. So how come one character no longer wants what they have previously
Oops.
wanted from another character?
I just put them on the wrong space. Okay, there we go. There. And sorry, I have a very small screen.
No worries. You can always zoom out if that helps.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see if any of those help you.
Interesting.
So for those watching at home, Trisha has just drawn 2 prompt cards, and she's going to be inspired by 0, 1, or 2 of them. And you'll discard them face down, so we don't know like what came from the prompt cards and what came from your head.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, when you say inspired by, can I twist
Yeah,
the prompts?
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. As much as you'd like. They're just
All right.
prompts.
Okay. Okay, so we're all still standing in the hallway. And Frankie has just tried to go through the door several times. And all of a sudden, all the doors slam shut.
Mm-hmm.
And the staircase that we came up sort of starts to fade
Oh, interesting.
and ice over.
Ooh.
And the light that was in the middle of the hallway is now moved to and it goes off, and the one in the stairs leading up turns on.
Now, Jack, you're playing an edit card. Is there something you want to edit about this?
Yeah, I actually had a little idea.
Okay.
Maybe each time that Frankie runs through that threshold, she gets a little bit older.
Okay.
I'm down with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So Frankie's hair is turning gray.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you don't notice if you only do it once, but, running through that threshold.
It was
over
already
and
a
over and
little
over.
gray, yeah, but now
Yeah.
it's grayer, and now she's got these aches and pains.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now all the doors have shut, and there's just the light.
Yep.
There.
So we go. We're gonna go upstairs, but Frankie says you go first. I'll go last.
Okay.
I'll follow you, Joss, and take notes. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, I will head up the stairs.
And Frankie goes upstairs, but they're much harder going than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her knees are really complaining.
You all right
So-
there, Frankie?
Sorry?
You all right there, Frankie?
I'll catch up, she says.
So we get to Jaws gets to the top of the stairs, and it's one of those sort of trap doors that you have to lift and push over. And just inside, there is something, you can't see what it is, but there's something glowing on the floor. In this like red glow. And there's no other light in this room other than that red glow, and a little bit of like moonlight coming in through like this sort of old stained glass window.
Hmm.
So I push the lid out of the way, or whatever, the hatch out of the way, and step up to stand in front of that stained glass window and kind of stare at it, waiting for the two of you to catch up.
Wendy kind of scrambles up and is quickly standing next to Jaws, and kind of taking in deep breaths because it is really cold up here.
Frankie is not in the room. She's stopped at the top step, and she's sitting at the top step trying to catch her breath, being winded from going up the steps.
Without turning around, Jaws says, I can't stay here.
And Frankie, you hear Frankie say, "I need you to stay here."
I can't. I have to leave.
Frankie says, "Who will run the shop? I can't run the shop."
The shop's not mine to run. And it's not my burden.
You can sort of see Frankie's shoulders slump a little bit in like the silhouette.
And Jaws like reaches for something, that might be able to break glass. I don't know what might be up here.
Like there's a chair. You can like.
Okay. So
like
so Jaws grabs the chair by the leg and just with one hand throws it at the stained glass.
The glass breaks, and for a moment you can see out, but as soon as it breaks, a sheet of ice just covers the window, and the writing on the floor that was red becomes even brighter.
What does the writing say?
When you look at it, it's in a language that I'm pretty sure none of us understand. But it you hear the voice of the man that we'd heard before that says, "I need a vessel."
Frankie says, "What do you need this vessel for?"
To return.
Where are you returning to?
To this world.
How long do you need the vessel for?
To fulfill my destiny.
Frankie says, "I have nothing left here. If my pizzeria's been robbed and I've got nobody to run it after I move, you may as well take me."
And he says, no, it might be evil.
Frankie says, at this point, I won't be able to tell the difference.
What happens to the rest of us?
You will go.
Take her.
What? Wait, no, Jaws! We can't just let her do this.
Do you want to take her place?
No, but, I mean...
Frankie says, "Wendy, go with Jaws and try to do your best with the restaurant.
But...
someone will take care of you."
No, it's not about the restaurant. I mean, what if it's a ghost and it does horrible things and everything?
I don't think we're going anywhere unless it gets what it wants.
One vessel, and you all will go.
Frankie says, "I'm ready."
Step into the center.
Frankie steps into the center without hesitation.
And then we end it.
Yeah! Okay, excellent. Okay, so now we're going to do the denouement. And the way that works is we go through each character's future and or legacy. So we'll go one by one, person by person, and then we'll finish trying to figure out the legacy of the weird. So I'm going to start just by a couple of vignettes. One vignette is the pizzeria boarded up with not boarded. Sorry, no. First, the pizzeria with like there's police and sirens. You know the glow of the lights, the red and blue. Against there's broken windows. There's cops taking statements. No ambulances. Nobody got hurt, but money
Right.
the Regina is in tears, and she's describing how like she had to empty out the register. Then a vignette of the movers coming to Frankie's house, knocking on the door, and no answer. And those are the only two vignettes that I'm gonna share as far as Frankie's concerned. Either of you ready with your character's future and/or legacy?
Sure. So we see Jaws stepping out the front of the house with Wendy kind of in the background a little bit, and Jaws walks away with purpose. Later on, we see Jaws with nothing but a backpack and Herman walking out of town to parts unknown.
Oh, excellent! I love it. Trish, what about Wendy?
Wendy ends up going to school, to college, and she starts a ghost hunting club.
Oh, that's excellent.
And she's going to find out what happened to Frankie.
Awesome. So yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think about. I should have been spending this time thinking about it. So I'm going to need your help. So as far as the legacy of the weird, I want this to have a little bit of closure here. I want Frankie. Nobody sees Okay, so let's just take it with a couple of vignettes. One vignette is a new delivery person from another pizzeria coming to the door, and with a pizza, and the door opens, and the delivery person like shivers, and it's Frankie behind the door.
Nice.
Her eyes are a very odd shade of blue, like her irises. It's not like all her eyes are blue, but they're a lot bluer than they used to be. Somebody else want to try a vignette with Frankie in the house?
So actually, to continue that, the pizza person is invited inside by Frankie, who gestures towards the sitting room, and the pizza person walks into the sitting room, and again, a figure on the other side of a chair appears to be instructing or communicating with the pizza person, who ask some questions, and you see some gesturing. It's a little bit of an emotive pizza person, who then walks over to the front of the chair and looks down and sees a much older version of Hannah sitting in it with completely blacked over eyes, and the pizza person just melts away into oblivion.
Nice.
Trish, do you want to take a stab at something that happens with the legacy of the weird?
Yeah. I think that it's a few years later, and a person is coming to the building to try to that has just bought it, is coming to try to fix it up. And they go to the door, and it's freezing, and they realize that they've walked all the way around the house and they can't get in, even though the keys and everything. And so they're getting frustrated, and they back up, and they look up where the stained glass window used to be, and there is a figure of Frankie, and just behind her is this. She's standing there, and she looks like older, and the piercing blue eyes, and just behind her is this like black shadow of a figure, of that looks a little bit like a delivery boy, and the person who in the house runs to their car and starts driving away.
I think that's a good place to stop it. Awesome. That is Weird Stories. Ooh.
And that was quite a weird story.
That was a very weird story. And I'm glad that we never actually had to explain what happened or why. We just gave the edges around, you know?
Right.
That's kind of the spirit of the game. I'm so glad I had you here to play the game, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. I did very much.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
very
this was
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that the improvements you've made to the game really show. I think it's a lot smoother, and I really love it.
What's really interesting is a lot of those improvements don't make the game weirder, they make the game more grounded. Like, it really forces us to look at the story and to look at the characters and what the characters want. Because we can make the story weird. The players have such a capacity to make the story weird. It's like tying that weirdness back into why it's important to the characters. That's the trick.
Yeah.
And that's been like the last year of work, is doing that.
Yeah.
So
it's
been a
making
real-
the characters outside of the weird, which I think is always an important.
Yeah, that was that's super important. All right, so one last go around. Jack, what is is there anything you want to tell anybody watching?
So I said it during my intro, but I am in the middle of a Kickstarter called Tales of Pride. It's a collaborative project collecting adventures from queer creators for my Pretty Fairy Princesses RPG, where your primary stats are pretty, fairy, and princess. It's going to run through the end of the month. I'm super excited about it. There's going to links should be shared in the chat.
I just did.
Yep, and that's about it. I can be found on Twitter at Jack Rosetree.
Awesome. And Trisha?
I don't have that much to say. If people want, they can go look at my RPG campaign, but I'm not selling anything right now. So
Fantastic.
But yeah. Well, and I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I had a great time. I hope you all did also. Everybody watching, we'll be back next week with a game of High Rise. Thank you again, you two, for joining me.
Hey.
Have a great night, everyone.
All right.
Bye.